Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 54 units of real estate. So today I want to talk about the trap of chasing unit count. And I was guilty of this, if I'm being honest. I was so fixated on chasing 100 doors, and it was a death race in my mind to get 100 units. It felt like someone had a gun pointed to my head to get to 100 units. And I think it was fueled by two things. Number one, it was fueled by the sense of, I thought more units meant better cash flow, meant more income, meant faster financial freedom. And number two, a lot of the content that I was listening to, they kind of like push you, or kind of like, I want to say brainwash, but like heavily suggest you to chase unit counts. Because back then in 2019, I started listening to Bigger Pockets. And a lot of the guests that they brought into Bigger Pockets, and they were like syndicators, and they would go from, you'd hear titles like from 0 to 1,000 units in 1 month. And it kind of normalized that. It normalized that you should get 1,000 units in 1 year using other people's money. And you'd hear stories of people who were working as a waiter, and all of a sudden they syndicated 1,000 units, and now they quit their waiter job. And I kept on hearing those stories. Or people would say, I retired in 3 years with $15,000 a month net and quit my W-2 job. So you kept on hearing these type of stories. And, be it, now that I'm in the content game, it's clickbait. And they're probably just talking about their best year. Like for me, I could easily come out and say, I make $10,000 a month on my 54 unit portfolio. But in the back of my mind, I know that's my best month. And there's months where I make 6,000. There's months where I made 3,000. There's months recently, as I've been talking about, I've lost 4,000. So I think they're only highlighting the good. And for me, I try to be, fully transparent. And I'll share the good, the bad, the ugly. Because I want to show the reality of what it's like to be a real estate investor. Because I feel like a lot of the bigger YouTube channels are failing to do that, like Bigger Pockets. So that's why I kind of feel obligated to share my journey, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. You're going to get slapped in the face. And if you look at a lot of the big real estate investors, that's why they fix and flip. That's why they wholesale. That's why they're a mortgage lender, do private lending. That's why they have an active income stream, because whatever real estate they do own, they need to help take care of it and keep it afloat during the bad times. So for me, my income stream is W-2. Their income stream is fix and flip, mortgage lending, they could be a real estate broker. So it's a different game. It's a different mentality. And that's the piece that people don't see and they don't really share, is they're making active income other ways to cover for that. So now that I've owned real estate for a long time, I know, like, okay, that's probably their best month or 1 month. And they're just highlighting the good, because that's what social media is good at doing, is highlighting only the good situation. They don't highlight the truth. They don't highlight anything else. And that's why I feel obligated to share the truth. And people appreciate my transparency. I keep it real. I just tell it how it is. And I've always been that way. So chasing unit counts, it was very dangerous. Like I said, I felt like I had a gun to my head and I had to get there as fast as possible. And I felt like I was behind. And that's why I bought 80 units in 8 months, because I felt like I was behind. I legitimately did. And I didn't want to syndicate. So that was never an option for me, because I don't like the thought of risking other people's money for my mistakes or for my learning curve. And a lot of syndicators are doing that. And they started that during COVID. And a lot of them are going underwater now, or not making money. Like, look at Brandon Turner. I think he became a fund of funds. He leveraged his personal brand from bigger pockets to raise a lot of money, and he would have a fund of funds, and then he would put some of his fund money into other syndicators. And if you Google Reddit, if you Google search Brandon Turner syndication or Open Door Capital syndication, you'll see a lot of Reddit comments stating that they're getting no distributions. And most likely they're going to lose, the LPs are going to lose all their money. Because what happened now? You got a 5-year balloon, and you got a home in 2020. The balloon's due now in 2025. Interest rates doubled from 4% to closer to 8%. Insurance is more expensive. Property tax is more expensive. Labor is more expensive. So a lot of these syndicators are underwater. So a lot of these LPs are going to lose their money. And a lot of syndicators are going to lose their reputation and their brand. So for me, I never wanted to deal with that. That's why I never raised money. At most I would do is private money. I would take a private money lender, no equity, just interest. That's the most I would do. But I don't even want to do that. Because once again, I'd rather go slow and steady and build a strong foundation. So like Brandon Turner, he started off in mobile home parks, and I own a mobile home park. It's so labor and expense intensive. You have to be vertically integrated if you want to be successful in a mobile home park. So if you're not vertically integrated, you stand no chance. If you are, maybe you got a shot. Apartments, like I said, Texas apartments, where you're able to sell C-class apartments at A-class pricing or A-class cap rates. That's not the case anymore. So that's the danger of chasing unit count. And it's kind of funny because you'll see like Brandon Turner say, he has 10,000 units, and how he spends 3 hours a month managing his syndication business, and it rubs people wrong because it's losing money, or the LPs are not getting with any money at all, no distributions. So they kind of say the bigger the name on YouTube, the worse the syndication results. So that's like Brandon Turner, Grant Cardone. Yeah, I wouldn't invest any money in a syndicator, and if you did, just expect to lose that money. Be okay losing that money. If you're okay losing that money, then maybe you should consider investing. But otherwise, you're better off just throwing your money in an index fund. So that's a trap of falling into unit counts. I remember when I joined my mentorship, there's this one mentee where she scaled from 0 to 1,000 units in Texas market, and I was really impressed by her, and I looked up to her, and I felt behind. And fast forward today, she might be the ones in trouble, where she's losing all her LP's money because all the deals in Houston are going underwater, and she raised a lot of money from friends and family. So imagine that awkward Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner. So that's why I don't want to partner. That's why I don't want to raise money. And if I did, I would do an equity position. And honestly, I would probably make it short term. Like, I wouldn't want this long term. So that's kind of the risk that you take and the dangers that you take if you chase unit count. So, and if you listen to like Robert Kiyosaki, he would always say like, I'm $100 million in debt and I want more debt to make you rich. If you listen to Grant Cardone, 10x. So if you're buying a 10 unit, it's too small. You have to buy a 100 unit. And luckily, I kind of knew that in the back of my head, but I never really followed that mantra. Because once I hit 90 units, I realized quickly, like, oh my God, when I had 90 units, I was negative probably $10,000 a month for my mobile home park. So realized I need to sell my mobile home park because I didn't want to deal with D-class tenants. And the property manager was terrible and probably stealing from me, looking back. And I ended up selling it for a loss. I lost $100,000. I had to do a seller carry second position note. And my money's still trapped there. Hopefully I get it back. But I just said, I don't want to deal with that. The moment I went from 90 to 50 units or about, my life got easier and less stressful. Interesting. So I spent the past 2 years stabilizing my portfolio. And most recently I bought my primary and then 2 in Huntsville, Alabama, doing it lazy burr. But I have a lot more clarity now because I gave time to optimize my portfolio and marinating on my C-class apartments and seeing how they're doing. Like, there's one that's in Oklahoma City, I'd call that a C plus. There's one in Enid, Oklahoma, I call that a C minus. I renovated the majority of both of them, but as I had talked about in my other video, my 20 unit is getting hit right now with CapEx issues. I had to spend collectively in just 1 month about $2,500 to repair plumbing in 2 units and to fix the HVAC in 3 units. And there you go, it's $2,500. There goes all my cash flow, and that's why I'm negative cash flow. So I want to see, is this apartment worth it to hold long term? And I'll hold it for another few more years to see if it's worth selling or keeping. So if I were to sell, I could do 2 ways. I could just sell it, pay the taxes, and then use that to pay off some debt. Or I can 1031 exchange this into, if I sold for $800, for example, I can 1031 exchange this into 3 new constructions in Huntsville, Alabama at $300 each. So that's an option as well. So, and I trade up into like an A-class asset, or I can 1031 into like a triple net lease. So there's kind of like 3 options I can do if I don't want to like deal with tenants anymore. So I can go triple net, sell it, pay off debt, or I can 1031 into like 3 new builds in Huntsville, Alabama. So I'm trying to see which assets I like to keep long term, because every day you keep a property, you're choosing to buy it again. So right now I'm choosing to buy my 20 unit. So that's a decision that you have to make. Another thing is, what I want to do is I'm upgrading the age, or downgrading the age of my portfolio. I want to get younger in my portfolio. So that's why I want to buy new construction, because single family home is a lot more predictable. It's either rented or not rented. And hopefully you want to have minimal turnover. I heard Mike Zuber say in One Rental at a Time, his best portfolio is 20 new builds owned free and clear. That's the most passive. And I thought about that for Huntsville, Alabama. If I own 20 free and clear, and each rent for $2,000, that's $40,000 a month. And if you were to, let's say, subtract $15,000, let's just call it, for property tax, insurance, HOA, property management fees, reserves, that's still $25,000 a month in net. And that's not that bad. Like, to get 20 units paid off at average price of like, what was that, 300,000, it's not too bad. It's not too bad to get there. So that's what's kind of like eye-opening to me, is you want to do the reverse. And this is the mindset I've been adopting now, and these content creators are starting to build up now, is how can you own the least number of units to hit the number that you need to live your lifestyle, to be financially free? So that's the mindset that I'm trying to build now. So for me, it's probably $15,000 to $20,000 a month in cash flow, and that's with a paid off primary residence. So what would that look like for me? That would look like my primary needs to be paid off. So either I'm probably going to have to sell one of my investment properties, take the equity, and then pay off my primary. I'm going to have to do that for sure, unless I blow up so big on YouTube that I make millions, in which case I would take some money to pay off my primary residence. That's part of my game plan. The next thing that I would have to do is probably start pruning the properties I don't want. So if my 20 unit doesn't fit what I want, I would probably have to sell it and use it to take off some debt off the table. And if I take debt off the table, I'd increase my cash flow to make it more guaranteed. So I would lower my expense, because right now my mortgage is $5,500 a month. If I can pay off my primary, I basically save $5,500 per month, which is huge. And I could sell my 20 unit and then use that to pay off my 26 unit if I decide to keep it, and that would increase the cash flow by about $2,000 a month, because my debt is $2,000 a month. And I would sell another single family home and maybe pay off a few of my Huntsville, Alabama properties. So I think over the next 5 years, I'd call it, I really want to optimize my portfolio and get newer properties, specifically single family homes in Huntsville, Alabama. Because what I kind of learned the hard way is you basically, when you buy apartments, you want to make sure that the average rent per door is at least, oops, sorry about that. That's what happens when your car doesn't want to do autopilot. It makes a beep noise when you're bumper traffic. Anyway, sorry about that. If you want to buy apartments, the minimum rent you want is $1,200 per month. I heard that from Cody Davis, who owns a lot of multifamily as well. And that hit me home because my 20 unit, the rent is about $500, and my 26 unit, the rent's about $750. But regardless if your unit is paying you $500, $800, $1,200, or $3,000 per door, the cost to fix plumbing is the same. So it's going to cost you, I'll make it $500 to fix plumbing. If your rent is $3,000, not too bad. If your rent is $1,200, okay, that's about less than half. If it costs you $500, like one of mine, that's not so good. So that's what's making me lean towards selling it. Unless that area, increases rent significantly, then maybe I'll consider keeping it. But right now, it looks like I'm gonna sell it. And someone gave me great advice: just put it on the market, because you never know. There might be a desperate 1031 exchange buyer who was willing to just buy it all cash to move their money and avoid capital gains tax. So that's a good thought. So, like I said, I'll see how it goes. Maybe it'll improve over the next few years. So I'm willing to hold on for a few more years because I got a 10-year balloon, and I'm on year 2 of the 10-year balloon, and my interest rate's 6.5%. Not the greatest, but can't really refinance out of that either. So another thing I'm probably gonna do over the next 5 years is I'm probably gonna buy, like right now, because eventually we're gonna have kids probably in the next year if things go okay. And I want to simplify. Like, I've been just living my life, if I'm being honest, like having fun, going to concerts, just trying to be more carefree, like focus on my health. And just recently married, so we're just trying to really like optimize our lifestyle. It's not always the grind. And the only thing I can imagine myself buying, because I don't want to be too active right now, like I don't want to buy another apartment complex right now because it's very active. And if I were to buy in Oklahoma City to get $1,200 a month in rent, I'm probably going to have to buy a B class or an A class asset in Oklahoma City. So it's going to be something newer, maybe built in the 2000s. And it's gonna have to be, like I said, at least be $1,200 a month in rent, and I'm probably gonna have to put a larger down payment unless I buy it right. But you typically cannot buy a B or A class asset significantly under market value like you do a C class. So what I might have to do is buy another C class, fix it up, rent it up at higher rents like I did for my 26 unit, and then 1031 exchange it into a B class asset. But like you said, the rents have to be at least $1,200 plus. So I won't even look at a deal now if it's not $1,200 plus in rents per door. Lesson learned. And so I can't imagine doing apartments. So I'm going to continue doing my lazy burr with my new construction in Huntsville, Alabama. And once again, I'm probably going to use AmeriTrust Mortgage and Lending One. If you want referrals, just send me an email on my link tree. Click on my link tree, send me an email. Happy to connect you with my 2 lenders from AmeriTrust as well as with Lending One. And from there, the only thing I can imagine is building an ADU in one of my properties I own in Orange County. And I'm heavily considering that. So I'm actually getting quotes for HELOCs from AmeriTrust Mortgage to get on the property in Orange County, as well as one I own in the Bay Area, which has high equity. And I want to see if I can get a $300,000 HELOC so that I can build an ADU. I'm thinking 2-bedroom, 1 bath to 1.5 bath, 750 square foot. Or I could do a 3-bedroom, 2 bath for 1,000 square feet. I'll do a cost comparison. But right now, a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 750 or 700 square foot is roughly around $250 all in, versus 1,000 square foot is about $350 all in. So if I were to get a HELOC and pay that, my loan payment would be roughly I think it was $1,800 for a 250 loan versus, I want to say, for some reason, $2,700 for 350 loan at 8% interest, amortized over 30 years. And basically, these could rent out. So the 2-bedroom, my cost would be $1,800. It could rent out for close to $3,000, believe it or not, because I see 2-bedroom, 2 baths apartments. So the inside's renovated, but the outside's older, being rented out for $3,000. So I comfortably believe I can get probably $2,800, so $200 less. Yes, you're in a backyard, but you don't share walls. You don't have an upstairs neighbor, downstairs neighbor to your left, right. You have no neighbors. You have your own house. The house has solar panels because I'm required to give them solar panels. And you have your own space. Like, you don't share walls. So I'm like, maybe I can do better than $3,000, but I just will be conservative, say $2,800. And I'm probably gonna list it at $3,000. But let's just say I get $3,000. My all-in cost is $1,800. I would make $1,200 extra in cash flow. And if I were to throw that $1,200 back at paying down the HELOC, I could probably pay off that $250,000 HELOC in about 12 years. And then once you own that ADU free and clear, that $3,000 net per month is all positive cash flow. And that's pretty significant. So ADU is a hack to the 1% rule. I'm paying $250 and I can rent it for $3,000. That's above the 1% rule. And I'm using the equity from the property that I'm building into. The only nuance is I need to let my tenants know that I'm going to start building an ADU there if I decide to move forward. I'm going to tour one in Orange County. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-story ADU in Fullerton. And I'm going to check it out to see if I like the property and if I want to use these lenders. So I'll keep you guys posted, but I'm going to use Ameritrust Mortgage to give me quotes for 2 of my properties for a second position HELOC. They do look at your debt to income ratio because it's a HELOC. So they're going to look at all the properties on my credit report. They're going to look at my credit score. They're going to look at my income. They're going to look at my expenses. Like, do I have car loans? No. Do I have a primary residence? Yes. Do I have credit card debt? No. They're going to look at all my income. So it's going to be a more difficult loan. And also, what I learned from Ameritrust Mortgage is they offer 90% loan to value for delayed financing for debt service coverage ratio loans, which excites me because that'll make my new construction burr even easier. So what I do is I'm all in cash $260, but my purchase price is $320. If I can pull 80% of it out, that's $260, so that's a perfect burr. If I do 90% of $320, that's like $290, or not $290, it's $280 roughly, and I would actually pull out $20,000 on top. But I don't know how hard they validate the purchase price, because on paper you see the purchase price of $320, but if you look closely, you'll see the credit of $60,000 that I'm getting. But I think they trust your word of mouth, or they see what's on the public record, and what's on public record is $320. So anyways, that's what I'm kind of doing. That's all I can imagine doing over the next 5 years is building an ADU, which is going to be more active. It's going to take me a year to do it. And then just do my lazy new construction burr. And at that point, once it's closer to 5 years, once I'm looking to retire, I'm probably going to sell an asset, pay off my primary, maybe sell my 20 unit if it doesn't pan out, and then use that to 1031 exchange or use that to pay off debt. And then probably sell another single family home to pay off more debt. And then that should increase my cash flow in my pocket by $5,000 by wiping off debt. And then also lower my expense by $5,000 by having no primary. So that's a $10,000 swing. And then hopefully by then, I have other streams of income, whether that's becoming a real estate agent passively, or real estate broker passively, or maybe my YouTube will take off. Who knows? But I'm sharing all this just to state that don't chase unit counts. You want to have the least amount of units to hit your FIRE goal. That's the best lifestyle. If it's 15 units owned free and clear, great. Like I said, if I have 20 units, if my goal is $20K a month, and I buy these new construction in Huntsville. That's $2,000 each. If I get, let's just say 15 of these, or let's say 20 of them. So I get 20 of them, and they rent for $2,000 each. That's $40K per month. And over time, maybe they double in value from $250 to $500. And what I can do is I could sell off 5, so I'm down to 15. So now I'm at $30K, and use that 5 to pay off maybe your 2 or 3 properties. And now those are paid off, and now my cash flow increases. Then I use the cash flow to reallocate to pay down the other debt. And eventually I own 15 free and clear. That's $30K a month gross. And maybe net, let's say my expenses are $10K, that's $20K a month net. And I only have 15 brand new units for them, or newer-ish units. That sounds like a good life. So that's why I want you to hear this message, is don't chase unit counts. Just hit your goal, and whatever your goal is, just pay off that debt. And it's okay to build larger than you want and then sell later. That's what I'm doing. Like, I made the mistake, I bought too much, but I always have the option to sell and use that to pay off other debt. And then once debt's paid off, you can use it to snowball into other debt. So if I start cash flowing 10K a month again, if the real estate does well, I'm gonna take that 10K and then use it to start paying off debt. And it gets powerful, right? It gets really powerful if you do that. So anyways, hopefully you found value from this video. Hopefully you don't fall into that trap of wanting to chase unit count. You want the minimum amount of units to hit your goal. That's the best way to do it. And you know, like I said, don't go too crazy with the unit counts. Just get enough that you need so that you have good balance of retiring early and not too much headache of real estate. So if you found value from my channel, click on my link tree. You can send me an email there. If you want to join my school community on a free trial, I'd appreciate it. Doing some Q&As. If you want coaching, mentorship, a newsletter, click on my link tree as well. Otherwise, hope to see you in the next one. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you so much. Have a good one.